We will move to item 6.
Item 6, Community Service Organization reports. 6A, presentation on the 2018 Warrior Games. Dave Rose, Chief Public Information Officer, Public Information Office. Lieutenant Colonel Gary Hepp, Warrior Games, Public Affairs Officer, United States Air Force.
All right.
That's okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Carrie Hepp, and I'm the Public Affairs Officer for the 2018 Warrior Games. We are so excited that it's right around the corner, and to help provide some information and to give an overview of it, we have two distinguished guests with us today. Ms. Gail Colvin, who is the Director of the Staff for the United States Air Force Academy and has been our primary liaison helping us plan this event here, as well as an athlete from the 2016 Warrior Games who is also an integral member of our team, Ms. Ana Mancias. So without further ado, Ms. Colvin.
Good morning to the board. Thank you so much for giving us a little time to talk about this. I know everyone here in Colorado Springs is very familiar with the games because this is where they started. So what we wanted to do today is just give you a little overview. Make sure I do this right. It's really about a little less than a month. You've probably already started to hear the buzz on the radio stations, seeing some things, press releases on TV. So we have, as you can see there, 11 sports, 300 athletes, and when we count the number of family members and caregivers, we'll probably have over 1,000 people descending upon Colorado Springs here shortly. And we've got 4 nations this year. We've got Australia, Canada, and the UK for the first time participating in our games. 400 plus family members, and we are just really excited at the Academy to host this in our backyard and the partnership that we're gonna have with the community as well. So what I'd like to do is show a quick video that kind of really captures the spirit. Let's see if I can get there.
I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation.
Each and every athlete at the Games this year represents the very essence of what it means to sacrifice and serve. You've already proven that you are the best and brightest of America's sons and daughters.
And continue to remind us all of what we can accomplish with a little determination and mental toughness. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. And the glow from that fire can truly light the world. So, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
So needless to say, we are very excited to bring the Warrior Games back to, let's see, we don't want to do that again. To bring the Warrior Games back to Colorado Springs, to the Olympic City, right? And so we've been working very closely with Mayor Suther's office as well and other community partners just to make sure that we're reaching out and making sure volunteers and folks have the opportunity to make this a memorable and meaningful event for the athletes. When we think about the Warrior Games, we think about really saving lives. We think about exposing the wounded, the ill to the adaptive sports and how that can change their lives and the ones who are taking care of them, forming new networks for these folks to be more resilient. Schedule is jam-packed, starting on 1 June, and I think we've all heard Kelly Clarkson will be our A-lister for the opening ceremonies. The tickets are free and open to the public. They will just have to go online starting 8 March, I believe, to get those. And so it's going to be a great event. She performed last year in Chicago. I got to witness that event. She is really gonna rock the crowd, and she has asked to come back this year and participate. So she is really dedicated to what the Warrior Games stands for as well. How can you get involved? We want folks to, of course, educate everyone. We have flyers and things that will be posted inside of grocery stores, lots of point-of-sale places, and we have Mr. Larry Holdren with us here, who's our marketing and public affairs consultant, so he'll be able to answer any questions at the end as well. But just make sure that folks know it's coming, that it is free, and it's an inspirational event for everyone. And we know that the folks of Colorado Springs already have a place in their hearts for the Warrior Games since it started here, and we're just looking to partner in any way we can to make sure that folks know what's going on and that things are available to them. And for more information, here are the sites. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Anna Monsiak. She's an athlete who has participated in Warrior Games before. She's an integral part of our planning team at the Academy, and she's going to talk a little bit about what it meant to her to participate. So, Anna.
Thank you, Ms. Colvin. Thank you for having us over today. I'm really excited to talk to you about the Warrior Games. I participated in the 2016 Warrior Games at West Point. I was in the Army. I'm a veteran of the Army for 5 years, where I was a sergeant for the MI battalion at Fort Drum, New York. While I was in the Army, I could definitely hold my own as far as the PT test was concerned. One of my proudest moments was when I heard someone yell from the sidelines at the end of the run finish, "You're not going to let a girl beat you, are you?" And although I did well in the PT test, I never considered myself an athlete. It was a lot about brute force, pushing yourself. A lot of the Army, a lot of military service is about pushing yourself and getting it done. So after I left the Army, I was in a motorcycle accident where I was broadsided and I lost my leg below the knee. Fortunately, I kept the knee barely. And one of the first questions people ask you, especially in a military hospital, is, are you going to get a run leg? And after my military service, after the brute force of running on asphalt, in formation, some of the worst kind of on ice most of the time, some of the worst kind of not healthy running conditions, I would say, I pretty much refused to run after the Army, and I would do elliptical and do various other cardio exercises, but never running. So when everyone asked if I was going to get a run leg after my accident, I said, no, I'm getting a high heel leg. And I did. After my walking leg, I will say I got a walking leg first. After my walking leg, my first leg was my high heel leg, and I was approached to start participating in rehabilitative sports through the Warrior Transition Battalion. So it's a military group that, I guess it's a battalion or a company with adaptive athletes, people who have been determined who would benefit from adaptive sports, whether it is a physical injury or otherwise. So, and that's where the Warrior Games pulls from. So as I was doing my rehabilitation, I was somehow convinced to start running if I wanted to compete in the Warrior Games. And I had heard so much about it. People would come back from it, having these amazing experiences, knowing all these really great people, having great contacts. So that's when my journey started. I learned a lot from the Army, more than I thought I would. I thought I was going to walk away with a college education and growing up during those 5 years. But I got so much more from it, and I gained so much. I didn't know that those gifts would continue. No one ever thinks they're going to lose a leg. No one ever thinks that's going to happen. I didn't think that was going to happen to me. And when it did, I had the support, the medical support, and most importantly, the community support, rehabilitation programs like Warrior Games, and as well as a community. And this is a very special community of military people. I competed in the 2016 Warrior Games at West Point. I don't know if anyone knows anything about West Point.
I'm not a fan.
Not a fan.
It's not the Air Force Academy.
I respect the institution.
You respect the institution. Well, I hope that maybe you'll be able to see a similar, I guess, competition during the Warrior
Yes.
Games, and then we can talk about that
Yes.
after. But so West Point is very secluded, and that's where I did my games. So while my family was there and my team members were there wasn't a whole lot of community support. The stands were pretty much empty. So this is not really about my story. This is our story. This is the story of my community. You see us in grocery stores. You see us at the gym. And some people are comfortable approaching us and some people aren't. And I love talking to people. They ask me sometimes very abruptly or sometimes very, cordially, what happened. And I think that the Warrior Games is a great opportunity for the whole community of all ages to have exposure to people like myself, to be comfortable seeing us in the community and getting to know us on a personal level. It's very personal. The process that we've gone through, where you will see it on our faces, and you're going to hear about it while you're at the games. They're going to be telling our story over and over. Every individual athlete will have a feature, and you will get to know all the athletes of all the services on a personal level. So, as I said, I was not an athlete when I left the Army. This is a gift. I mean, learning to be an athlete is something that would not have happened if I had not lost my leg. So in some ways, people feel sorry for me. Oh, I'm so sorry that this happened to you. I tell them, don't be sorry. Because so much has happened since then that would not have happened otherwise. So opportunities like this, as well as opportunities to find out more about myself. That brute force that I used to mostly kick the boys' butts in the Army is the same that I use to be an athlete. But in the Army, we say work smarter, not harder. So as an athlete, you have to be smarter about the physical challenges that you are up against. And especially as an adaptive athlete, the community, when you go to Warrior Games, I'm talking prosthetics with what do you have? Where did you get that? How does it work? What do you like about it? What do you not like? This is what I'm dealing with. And then they'll share, here's a sock. Here, this is what I use. And I walk away. We all walk away with so much more knowledge. I walked away from this experience with a lot more than I came to it with. So those are reasons why I would love to see the community in the stands. I would have loved to see the community in the stands because I'm not competing this year. I would have loved to see the community in the stands, and I think it's a great opportunity for my fellow athletes. When I was watching that video, I can't help but I get so proud and I'm so moved every time because those are my people. Those are people that I'm still in touch with, and it doesn't matter. We would probably not have gotten along if we weren't all in the same situation, but we are. And we lean on each other, and we follow each other, how we're getting better. Sometimes when we need help, you have people reaching out. So that's why I would like for you guys to come, but I think that there's a lot to be gained from anyone else who would like to come. People say I'm inspiring all the time. It's a word that I hear a lot. And I tell them it's relative. Before I lost my leg, I had other things I struggled with, and I got past that too. And personally, I think some of the struggles that we have in our with our relationships, with our families, sometimes those are harder to overcome than something as simple as just let me get my knee over my foot at this point. I know that that's true for me. So when people say that I'm inspiring, I feel like it's relative, and I'm inspired by the trials that other people have gone through as well. So, as I said, I think it's a great opportunity for when you see us in the grocery store, this is a great time to connect with us. So if you see someone in the grocery store like myself, you say, I went to the Warrior Games and I saw someone very similar to you. What do you think about this? Have you heard about it? Is that something you're interested in? Also, it's a way to identify all of our struggles together, whether they're visual or not. And I learn something new every time I go to the Warrior Games, and I'm pretty sure anyone who attends will also walk away with either a different perspective or a new tool in their toolbox. Thank you so much for having me.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you again for this time. The athletes will be arriving around the 28th of May, so they can start practicing, so you'll see them in town as well. Are there any questions that we can answer for you at this time?
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to say you had me at MI since I was an intelligence officer. No, this is outstanding event. A couple of us did get to go to the kickoff meeting a couple of months ago and hear more about this. I'm looking forward to it. I've already signed up for, I believe, 2 of the days I'll be there, and I recommend to our community to get out there and support these Warrior athletes. And this is going to be a great addition to activities, pride that we have for our men and women in the military. And thank you very much.
Commissioner Vanderwerth.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I'm just excited to have this here again. I'm so proud that we're back in Colorado Springs. And there will be community support. I know we'll have a bunch of people out there. But you know, the stands are so huge out at the Academy. So you could have 1,000 people from the community and it'll look like a small group. But there will be a bunch of people from the community. And I'll be out there myself on Monday. That's the only day that I'll be able to show up. But I'm looking forward to it, to seeing the competition. I think it's fantastic what's going on. And thank you to the Academy for hosting it.
It's our pleasure.
Commissioner Waller.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I too am looking forward to getting out there and rooting on all of the athletes, but in particular the Air Force athletes. So
Go Air Force.
Good, we won't have to root against you this year, but after the competition's over, we'll get back to one team, one fight.
Dave, I want to make sure at the end of the ceremony, I would love to have an opportunity to recognize some of the athletes, bring them here, give them that proper recognition. So we want you to come back, and I really want you to enjoy the Air Force Academy.
Very nice chair.
Yeah. And one of the things we do want to do before you leave, we want to take a picture. So we're going to stand in recess to do that, honor you. So thank you so much. We're going to stand in recess.
Thank you very much.